Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to our latest webinar of our QNAP webinar series, where we'll be talking about our newest and greatest of our QNAP products. I'm your host today, Eric Oliveros. I'm from the QNAP US marketing team, and I'm joined today by Deval Panara, who is our product manager from the US team as well.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Morning. Today we'll be talking about QNAP solutions for managed service providers. We'll be taking a dive both into software and some new hardware, a new hardware component that we're pretty excited to talk to you about, provide you some value and an added layer of service for your customers. So on today's agenda, we'll be talking a little bit about our software. We'll be talking about Boxafe, hybrid backup, Sync 3, hybrid data protector. We'll be doing a quick demo on each. After each topic, we'll be doing a quick demo on each. And then we'll have a second part of our software. We'll be talking about device management and also demos on that as well. Then we'll have a quick Q&A for 10 minutes where you'll be able to ask any questions you have regarding anything that we've covered. And then we get into part two, where we'll be talking about our QGD 1600P, which we're really excited to talk to you today about. It's our all-in-one managed PoE and gigabit switch. We'll be getting into some of the hardware components and different ports, and also the different case uses of it as well. And then we'll be having a quick demo, and we'll be wrapping it up with a Q&A for 15 minutes. So without any further ado, we'll get into part one of our webinar. We'll be talking about our software. So some of the challenges you may face for this specific product that we're going to be talking about, like maintaining former employees' G Suite or Office 360 data after they left the company. How do you ensure that you don't lose any vital email or emails of previous employees and stay in line with different compliance and data retention laws? Also looking for the ability to build your own cloud and have a foolproof 3-2-1 backup strategy. And how do you keep former employee accounts active after they left the company? You know, you want to keep their emails, but how do you do that without paying any subscription fees for each account? That can get a little costly after a while. So here we get into Boxafe, which is our first feature that we'll be talking to you about. And I'm going to be passing it over to Deval. So Deval, tell us about Boxafe.
Thank you, Eric. So Boxafe is a new application that we have introduced to help you back up your Google G Suite and Office 365 data. So it is a comprehensive backup solution for Google G Suite and Microsoft 365 data. And Boxafe allows you to back up your Gmail, Google Drive, contacts, calendars for Google G Suite. And for Office 365, it can back up Outlook, contacts, calendar, OneDrive, and SharePoint coming very soon. App also allows a very user interface, a simple user interface for backing up and restoring your data. With a single job to back up thousands of accounts, with features like volume encryption, it is completely secure. Lastly, you can centrally back up all your data on a single location, which is your NAS. Boxafe is completely free for all and for all its current features. Let's start the demo. Under App Center, just look up Boxafe. I already have it installed, so I'm just going to open the application. All right, I'm going to log in right now. And the login information will be the same as your QNAP's login information. So right here, it's going to give you a dashboard, which gives you a status of your backup protection, as well as the data consumption that your backup is taking. So how much data is your Google Drive is taking, how much data is your Gmail taking. So it will give you that information right here. Under domains, you can add a new domain like Google G Suite account or Microsoft 365 account. So you can add new domains here. To add a domain, just click on add here and then choose a service that you want to add. And then you have to create a service key. Now, service key can be, we have a tutorial that you can they can follow to how to create a service key. And you can click on this tutorial. We have a tutorial separate for Google as well as for Microsoft. So once you create a service key, put in the domain name, email address, and the service key, and that is it. I already have one backed up, so I'm going to show you that information. So I'm going to edit that setting. So when you add a new domain, it's going to ask you what you want to back up. You can select Google, Contacts, Calendar, or Drive, or you select one or the other. You don't have to back up everything, but you can select one or the other. For Google, it also allows you to do shared drives as well. Okay, when you hit next, it will allow you to schedule this. So yeah, there are three types. There are three types of backup. You have one called one time. It'll back up one time, and that's it. And then the other one is manual, where you have to always come in this application and select backup now to start the backup. And then auto is where it'll automatically schedule for you. So if you select auto, you can select once a day, every 12 hours, every 6 hours, and then and every 3 hours. So basically, the type you schedule you want to start with. And then for application, you can either do all application or individual applications. So for individual applications, basically it will allow you to have a separate schedule for each of the jobs for each of the applications. So for Gmail, you can have a separate time. For Google Drive, for a separate time. The only reason for this is because, remember, you're backing up a lot of accounts together, right? So what this helps you to do is this will help you to segregate the time, so it doesn't take up all your bandwidth to back up everything. Specifically, for example, Google Drive data is a large amount of data, and specifically for thousands of accounts, it can get a lot of data, right? So you can schedule Drive to run at an off-peak hours, maybe towards the night or early in the morning before everybody logs in, so it doesn't use that much bandwidth. Then everybody can still get access to your bandwidth as well. So again, we help you with that as well. So that's how schedule works. I'm going to click on cancel. Once you have backed up, you're going to click on the accounts that you have backed up, and it's going to show you all the data you have backed up for that particular user. So you can see his Gmail, contacts, calendars, and Drive. And then you can, if you want to restore something, you just click on that particular data and click on restore right here on the top, and it's going to restore that particular data. So that's how simple it is. And then for under settings, you can just check you can create users. So admin users will give you access to all the domains you have backed up, but for admin, they can also create a new user on the NAS and then give him access to his own email. So let's say, for example, I'm going to select myself here, and then I'm going to select a role called user. I'm going to select the domain that I've backed up, and then because I only have one account that I've backed up, it's going to only show that account. So I can click on this account and then apply. So the Vol will get access to his own account right here. So this is a great way to give access to your users. So let's say if a user mistakenly deletes some data and he wants to restore, without this particular feature, he has to come to his admin and tell him that I need him to restore this particular data. And then admin has to log into this portal and then restore. That can get really cumbersome, especially if you have thousands of users, right? With this particular feature, you can create users and then give them access to their own account. So if they lose something, they can just log into this portal and access and restore their own data. Again, this is only read only, so they won't be able to delete the data. They will only be able to restore something and read that data. Okay, so that's a great way to give access to the users. So that is a quick demo for Boxafe.
So Boxafe, how does this help you? As you saw Deval's demo, it protects your business customers from data loss or human error. So it's a great way to back up all of your emails, your contacts, all of your employees' calendars, everything from Office 360 and also from Google. You can back it all with one solution. It's an ideal solution for businesses that need to achieve their emails for compliance, that need to archive their emails for compliance, and also achieve a 3-2-1 backup strategy. And also offers you, the MSP, different levels of service for your clients with Boxafe. So that gives you an added benefit, an added revenue stream as well. I mean, this is a service that you can provide. And one great thing about Boxafe, it's free. So it's an added software that comes free with the QNAP NAS. So that covers Boxafe. Next topic we're going to get into is hybrid backup sync, which for challenges for that. Okay, so how would you use hybrid backup sync? If you have any types of challenges, like if you're looking for, you're having difficulty finding an easy way to back up or sync or transfer any of your data to local storage or remote storage devices, or a cloud, a secondary cloud service. If you want one interface that can do that, I mean, if you have a hard time looking for that, this would come into play. If you need a way to protect your data from natural disasters or physical disasters, sometimes stuff happens. Also, if you're looking for a solution that's compatible with different cloud providers, you have customers with different types of cloud accounts, and you want a solution that's compatible with different cloud services. And also if you're looking for a way to minimize costly cloud storage costs, hybrid backup sync is definitely something for you. So next, I'm going to pass it over to Deval. Deval, if you could tell us a little bit about hybrid backup sync.
So hybrid backup sync is an application for backup and sync application that is provided by QNAP. It is an all-in-one app for backup, restore, and sync jobs. You can set up backup sync jobs to another NAS, rsync server, external drives, and also cloud, and even much more like FTP server and Samba servers as well. With HBS3, you can easily achieve your 3-to-1 backup strategy, as it allows you to set up multiple jobs, and one of them could be on the cloud. HBS3 currently supports up to 20 cloud providers, so you will have options to choose your own cloud service providers, and most likely there will be one for you. And then HBS3 also supports TCP BBR, which will help you increase the network performance and stability when doing a backup or sync job. Lastly, HBS offers a very user-friendly interface for creating a backup job, restoring it, and even creating a sync job. And then you no longer have to visit different applications to start your backup jobs, to restore jobs, or for sync job. It's all in one application, as I was mentioning before. And with the same application, you can set up a backup job, a restore job, and also a sync job. All right. So with that in mind, let's get started with the demo. So again, the backup HBS3 is already an application available in App Center. So just look up in the search bar in the App Center and then install the application. As I've already installed, I'm just going to click on Open. All right. So just like Boxafe, HBS3 also offers an overview of your job status, how many jobs are there, how many jobs are successfully ran, how many jobs failed, and how many cloud services are you currently using. And then if there is any alarm logs, any failed jobs, it will give you a brief overview of that alarm with its message why it failed. So you can quickly get information without having to go through different pages. So again, the overview page really helps you just to give you a quick, brief overview, okay? And then next, we're going to look at backup and restore. This is where you're going to create your backup jobs or your restore jobs if you want to restore something. With backup jobs, when you create a new backup job, just click on Create a New, select the source data, what you want to backup basically. So I'm going to create multiple source data, and then you can actually select one folder or multiple folders. And then this is where you're gonna select your destination, where that data is gonna go. So you can set up either a NAS cloud server, and then you can see here if you have a huge list of supported cloud services right here. So I'm gonna just select Google Drive, and then if you already have used Google Drive before, the HBS3 will save your login information. You can select that particular account. I already have it saved, so I'm just gonna click on Select. And it's going to show you Google Drive's folder now. So this is where your destination would be. So I'm going to select my Google Drive, and then I'm going to select the root folder, basically that is it. And then once you have selected that, this will show you what you're going to back up and the destination information. Also how many folders are in the source. So it will tell you you have 55 folders that you're going to back up now, and then what's the size of that particular folder as well. Okay. And then you select Next. This is where you're going to select versioning and schedule. Schedule is basically you can set up a schedule to run this job over and over again, or you can set up a one-time job basically. Versioning is where you're going to set up different versions of this of your backup. So you can set up a single version or multiple versions. So if you want to restore something from one of the versions, you can do that as well. We have smart versioning or regular versioning, or simple versioning or smart versioning. Smart versioning it will give you more control over how many versions you want, like how many versions per week, per hour, per days. You can select that here as well. So once you select your versioning, you hit Next, and this is where you're going to set up filters. If you want to set up filters, basically you don't want certain files to backup. You can select here under Settings. You can set up you can limit by file types, modification date, file type. So if you have a lot of data in this folder, right? You don't want, maybe you just want photos to be backed up, nothing else. So you can just select included file type, photos, and everything else, just make sure it's not selected, and it will ignore those data, okay? And also you can set up compression here. So you can reduce the destination storage size, so you can save on that as well. And here you can also set up QUDD, which is a new feature on HBS 3.0. This allows you to do deduplication on your backup jobs. So it will, and it also does source side deduplication, where it will actually do deduplication before sending the job out to the cloud or the destination job. So it will do the source side duplication, it will do duplication on the NAS first, and then it will send out to that destination. So it will also save on bandwidth as well as on with deduplication, because the data is smaller. You can also save on the destination storage space as well. So you can set up that here and just hit next, and it will give you a brief overview of your jobs, and then you can create the job and you'll start the job. So I'm not going to create it, but this is how you can create a job. You can also, on the same application as I mentioned, you can also set up a sync job. I already have 3 sync jobs that I set up to B2, which is the backup job as well. Now sync job, and then you can create 3 types of sync jobs. There's two-way sync jobs, where you can set up a source folder and destination folder, and they'll both be in sync. Basically, whatever changes you do on the source side, that same data will go on the destination side as well, and whatever changes that are done on the destination side will also be done on the source side. So this will keep both data in the same type of both data on the same locations, on different locations, okay? And a one-way sync job is basically what you do on your NAS will be backed up or synced towards your destination location. Active sync job is basically if you want to grab data from the other location and save it to the local location. Basically, this is a great application if you have like FTP server or Samba server, where they don't have a sync application, but you still want to get data from that location, right? So you can set up an active sync job to the FTP server, and then the QNAP will grab data from that FTP server and then put it on your local NAS. So you can keep grabbing data. So this is a great application if the destination, the or other side, does not have a sync application. Okay, so creating a sync job again is very easy. You select the destination where you want to set up the sync job to. I'm going to select Google Drive again, and then you can select the paired folders, so where which folder syncs with what folder on the destination side. Once you select the folders, you can select conflict policy. So basically, conflict policy is if you have same data on both sides, what should QNAP do? Either it'll rename the remote file, or it'll rename the Google Drive file, or it'll replace the remote file, or it'll just replace the file directly, or it'll skip the file. It just won't back up or won't sync that file. Okay, so basically, you set up conflict policy and hit next. You can also do real-time replication on sync jobs. Real-time is basically, it'll just keep this data synced all the time, 24 hours to Google Drive. So whatever changes you do, it'll immediately be synced towards to Google Drive. You don't have to wait for it. It'll immediately sync towards Google Drive. And you can set up a schedule if you like to. And then basically rules is where, again, you have filters, you have compression options, and next is summary, where you can set up summary. So this is how simple it is to set up a sync job.
Thank you, Deval. So as you saw with the demo, hybrid backup sync, you can do a lot of great things. You can build a solid data backup and recovery plan for your customers. You can sync, you can backup, you can schedule, you can do a whole lot of great things. Provides you a quick and efficient way to back up your client data to remote storage devices or different cloud providers. As you can see, we're compatible with over 20 different cloud providers. So this is really good, awesome, flexible way to always have a solution for your client, regardless of what cloud service they use. And lastly, you have a consolidated backup and sync software, which saves you time. You have everything you need all in one solution. So again, throughout this today's webinar, you're going to be hearing a lot about time saving, because time is money. Of course, when you service different, a whole barrage of customers, you need something that's going to be easy, centralized, and remote as well, that you can manage everything from one location. So on to the next topic, challenges you may face for this. How to maintain operations with minimal downtime if a client's virtual machine malfunctions, or machines, period. How to protect your client's VMs from ransomware. You want a foolproof way to protect from data loss. Also looking for a cost-effective way to back up VMs, because those licensing fees can add up. And also a single interface. If you have, you're looking for a solution with a single interface for backing up VMware and Hyper-V. So we'll get into Hyper Data Protector, which is a new feature of ours, and I'm passing it over to Deval to tell us a little bit about it.
All right, thank you, Eric. So Hyper Data Protector is a new application for backing up your VMware vSphere or Microsoft Hyper-V data, or VMs basically, which with features like data replication and compression, it really helps saving on backup space so that you can have more version of your VM. It is a free application that you can use, which will help on saving backup costs. With Hyper Data Protector, you don't need a separate hardware and software for virtual machine backup. With QNAP NAS and Hyper Data Protector, you can create an agentless backup task for unlimited VMware, vSphere, and Microsoft Hyper-V VM backup, and centrally manage your backup and restore jobs for vSphere and Hyper-V from the same app. And there's no need to install any agent on vSphere or Hyper-V for this application to work, basically. All right, with that in mind, let's get started. So for Hyper-V, Hyper Data Protector, you can, again, it's an application you can install from App Center. I already have it installed. So I just open the application from my desktop. And again, the username password is the same username password for your QNAP NAS. All right, once you log in, it'll give you a quick introduction to the app. I'm just going to close that for now. And then it's going to give you a brief overview again, like all our application. We like to give you an overview so you can quickly get information about how everything is running, right? So this will give you a quick overview of your information on how many VMware hypervisors are you running. Also repository space, how much space is your backup using. Calendar gives you information about when how many backups you have run and how many of them were successful or how many of them were failed, basically. And then if they failed, what's the reason for being it failed? So it'll give you a brief login information about your backup jobs as well. All right. So right now I'm gonna go to inventory. Inventory is basically where you're gonna get the VMs from. So I have two inventories, one for VMware, one for Hyper-V. Basically, to add a VM inventory, you just click on add and then choose add inventory, and then just put in your IP address for VMware, vSphere, or Hyper-V, and then username password for that application, and just click apply. I already have one for VMware, one for Hyper-V, and then once you select, it will give you the information about how many VMs it has, and then you can select the VMs if you like to, right? So right now I have one VM for each of the application. And then you have to add a repository. Repository is basically where you want to be saving this job. So you have to select a folder inside the NAS. So you can select choose folder, and then here you can enable deduplication or compression if you like to. You can also enable encryption here. But just remember, you have to enter a password for encryption. Now, if you forget this password, there's no way we can reach. There's no backup. There's no backdoor to this. Basically, what I mean to say is, make sure you save this in a different location, or multiple locations, so you don't lose this data. Because once you lose this data, there's no way to get access to this data because it's encrypted. Okay. So once you add the repository, and then I have added one here, and you can start doing a backup job to this. So to back up something, you have to create. You can go to the backup option and create a job. I'm going to create a new job just to show you how to backup. The source is where your VMware vSphere or Hyper-V data. So I'm going to select Hyper-V here. I hit next, and you can select. It's going to show you all the VMs you have for that particular inventory. And I'm going to select the Windows 7 here, and then hit next. And the destination is basically the repository. Now you can have one repository for all your backups, or you can have multiple repository for different backups. Multiple repository also helps if you have multiple volumes on your NAS, right? You can have few of the VMs backup going to one of the volumes and a few of the VMs going to different volumes. You can also do that as well. So I have one repository. I'm just going to select that, hit next. So you can run, again, it's a schedule option as well. You can set up a schedule for one time, or you can set up different schedules as well. And retention is basically versions of retention of that VM. So how many versions you like for that particular VM. So once you have selected that, hit next, and then you can set up transfer encryption for VMware vSphere Hyper-V, and also application. So application awareness process is basically the VSS for those applications. And then hit once you have selected that, hit next, and then somebody will give you information about what your backup job is going to be. I already have one created, so this is and it's going to show you when was the last time this backup was done. And that is it. And then for a restore job, basically you just create a restore job, and you're going to select the source. Basically the source will be a backup job, right? So you've done a backup job right here. So we did the backup job right here, and then just select next, and it's going to show you the versions of that particular backup job. So I have one version right here, and I'm going to select that, and it's going to show you my VM for that particular version. So select that, hit next, and then it's going to select that destination. So there's going to be the Hyper-V that's going to be the destination. If you want to move that destination to somewhere else, you can select that as well. And it's going to show you that the drives you have for that particular VMs, right? It's going to show you it had C drive. My VM had C drive and D drive. It's going to show you that, and then the VM size. And you can either restore it to original location for now. Okay, and once you have selected that, hit OK, and then hit next. Again, you can set up a schedule to restore this, or you can just do a one-time restore and hit next, and then it will override this VM. Or you'll rename the VM, so you have two copies of the restored VMs. And again, you can set up encryption here or compression, and then so if you want to power up immediately after the restore, you can select that as well. So once you have selected that, and it'll give you a overview of your restore jobs, and then that's it. That's how simple it is to use this application. All right, that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. All right, so Hyper Data Protector. How does this help you? Again, it accelerates VM recovery time, supports recovery and encryption and compression. Recovery, encryption, and compression. It reduces backup time and storage overhead with deduplication. So again, that's a great feature, having a dedupe. And also the benefits of this. You got unlimited VM backups. Licensing-free solution to reduce total cost of ownership. So that's another added benefit for you. You have a free service that you can service your customers with, and supports both VMware, vSphere, and Hyper-V. So you got both solutions, a way to protect both in one solution. All right, so that's Hyper Data Protector. Next, we get into our next topic. So challenges for this topic. You ever have problems spending too much time updating firmware, updating different machines, updating softwares, multiple servers, multiple servers or multiple NAS machines? You have any problems keeping track of all the systems that you're managing, being able to, and receiving real-time notifications in case any problems pop up. You're looking for a centralized solution to monitor, manage, and if necessary, turn your machines on and off, QNAP NASs that you're managing. So the solution for that is QCenter. So you can centrally monitor and manage all of your QNAP NASs from anywhere, multiple NAS machines. And kicking it back to Deval, so tell us a little bit about QCenter, Deval.
All right, perfect. The QCenter is a free application provided by QNAP again to centrally manage all your NASs to make sure that everything is working fine. This is a web-based application. you can access it from anywhere for remote monitoring as well. So let's say you're not at the location, but you still have access to your NAS. You can open the application from App Center and quickly get information about how all your NASs are working. Everything is working properly? Is there anything that's abnormal with one of the NASs? You can quickly get that information as well. You can easily monitor all your QNAP NASs from a single interface for your CPU usage, your RAM usage, disk usage, and you can get much more as well. You can also set up to get notification if any issue arises, so you can quickly resolve that. So if you have one of the disks that is failing, you can get a notification, so you can quickly go out and replace that particular disk. You can quickly create shared folders, manage apps like installing apps or removing apps. So to deploy functions or features remotely. So let's say if you have a NAS that you want to start a backup job to, so you can quickly log into QCenter and then install Hybrid Backup Sync. So you can start with that, start backing up from that particular NAS. So, or if a customer is requesting a Boxafe data, so you can quickly install the application remotely as well. So you don't need to log into the NAS every time. You can just log into QCenter and then start installing applications. And with system connections block, you can quickly check for incoming connections to your NAS and even block IP addresses. So let's say you want to monitor who's logging into the NAS at what time, right? And then, so you can, with system connection logs, you can quickly go out and see who was logging in at this particular time. So you can quickly get that information for auditing as well. For management, you can quickly remotely reboot, shut down, upgrade firmware, or even restore settings to any of your NASs. So you can, if you want to restart your NAS, you can restart your NAS. You can shut down NASs as well. And let's say if you change some settings and that setting does not work for you, you can quickly restore settings back to the original one that you have, provided you have a saved copy of that particular configuration. So with that in mind, let's get to the demo. All right, to install QCenter, you can install it from the App Center. Now, remember, QCenter is a QCenter server application, can be installed on one of your NASs, so that NAS can be your QCenter server, or you can install it as a VM or vSphere VM or Hyper-V VM. So QCenter server can also be a VM, and then the VM will manage all your NASs. So there are two options for you. Okay, I have this NAS as a QCenter server. So I have installed application. Just click on the application and then log in with your admin account on your NAS. All right. So right here I have logged in. I have 3 NASs that I'm managing with QCenter. This quick overview will give you information about if there is any abnormals with any of my NASs, or if everything is in a good working state, your volume capacity, your disk usage. It'll give you a quick overview of that. Also gives you overview of your CPU usage, memory usage, and your uptime. Uptime is basically how long that NAS has been on. Okay, so gives you a quick overview of information. You can go to servers to see your server information, like what firmware it's running, what's the serial number for that particular server, what's the MAC address, and you can also add new devices here. Okay. As well as you can upgrade firmware if you like to. Now, so I have 2 NASs that I have there are firmware upgrades available for. So it'll show this information. I can just click on this button, and then it'll go to the server firmware library. I can just click on download, and it'll start downloading or upgrading firmware for that particular NAS. So that's how simple it is to upgrade firmware remotely. Now, I've done this for this particular NAS. I can do it for multiple NASs. Okay, under actions, you can create shared folders, you can change password, you can update firmware from here as well. You can also restore. This is what I was going to talk about, right? So I have a backup of one of the configurations file from this particular date. So I can, so let's say if I made some changes and it's not working for me. So I want to go back to the last time it was working fine. Provided you have a backup of that particular configuration, I can just click on here and restore. And it'll restore my NAS to that particular settings that I had for that particular day. Okay, so that's how quickly it is to do that. Now the app manager basically can install app, update apps, or even remove apps as well. Reports you can actually create report for your NAS, like your CPU usage, your storage usage, or you have a lot more options you can create reporting for. So for here, if I want to create a CPU usage, I can create CPU usage for all my NASs. I can go back 1 month, 1 year. I can go in graph mode as well as chart mode as well. So it will show me how much my CPU usage was for that particular date and time. So that's how you can create reports. Login will give you information from login from each of the NAS. So like each NAS logs information, right? What it's doing. Basically, the server logs will give you information for that particular NAS and logs from that particular NAS. You can also go to connection logs. This is where it's going to talk about, right? This is where you can actually audit who's coming in and who's going out. So here you can actually see I'm logging in. Our admin user is logging in from this IP address and is logging out at that particular time. You can also do this for Samba services as well, FTP services as well. And then you can also export these if you wanted to. Okay. Rules is basically you can create notification rules for your NASs as well. So you can select, you can set up rules, and then you can set up. I'm just gonna set up a next test rule, and you select which NAS you wanted to set up rules for, and then you can set up like networking rules or power rules as well from here from this location. Firmware libraries are all the firmwares that you have downloaded to QCenter, so you can quickly update that to all your NASs. And notifications is where you can set up notifications for other policies. So you can set up notifications for QCenter or the notification center from one of the NASs directly from QCenter. Okay, so this is how simple it is to set up QCenter. Okay,
Awesome.
Back to you.
Awesome, thank you, Deval. So QCenter, very convenient, awesome feature. So how does QCenter help you? Again, this is it's a great way to remotely manage and administer all of your QNAP NASs, say all your client NASs in different locations. It gives you one centralized way to oversee and see how each NAS is doing, see the health of each NAS, and also you can upgrade the firmware. You can manage and you can configure different NASs. You can set different rules. So you configure one NAS, you can set rules to configure several different NASs in the same way. Great feature as well is you receive real-time alerts. So it's a great way to stay on top of any problems that were to arise. You want to put out the smoke before you have to put out a fire. It's a great way to stay on top of things. Also, you have the ability to turn on and off QNAP NASs remotely as well. Also, you get reports, as Deval mentioned. You get reports for all NASs give you logs and reports, but this is gives you reports for performance, history logs, who logs in and out of each NAS, and you could also configure different network settings for specific NAS or an entire NAS group. So you got one NAS and you want to configure all of the NASs just like it. You can set the rules and do that. So really great feature, really convenient. Again, we want to save you time with one solution. As you can see, that's kind of the tone of what we've been talking about today. Is time is money. All right, so on to the next topic, challenges for this topic. So we talked about how do you centrally manage all your NASs, all your client NASs. So how do you centrally monitor and manage different workstations for your clients? Also, how do you manage newly added devices that are added to the networks for each of your clients? And also, do you ever need the ability to RDP into workstations and also the ability to shut down and reboot workstations remotely? So we talked about remote management for NASs. Now we get into QRM, which is where you a solution to centrally manage devices. So I'm kicking it back to Deval. He's going to tell us a little about QRM Plus.
Thank you very much, Eric. So again, as we were talking about QCenter just before, QCenter is a great tool to basically manage multiple NASs. But QRM Plus is a free utility provided by QNAP to manage or monitor your workstations, like Windows or Linux workstations, or IPMI devices. We support up to IPMI 2.0 devices as well, so you can quickly monitor them as well. You can use QRM Plus to monitor your workstation's CPU usage, memory usage, disk usage, and more. You can RDP into the workstations for quick troubleshooting when needed. So if a user tells you that I have some issues with this particular workstation, you can quickly RDP into it and check what he's talking about and then quickly resolve that as well. Also, You can quickly discover devices on your network with device discovery. So if you plug in a network device and you don't know the IP address of that device, you can quickly find out through device discovery. And have you ever wanted to quickly check notifications or quickly check for workstation CPU usage on the go? Basically with QRM Plus mobile device or Android device, you can quickly open the application and check your workstation status and make sure everything is working smoothly. So you can do that as well with QRM Plus. So with that in mind, let's get started. So with QRM Plus, again, it's an application you have to install from App Center. For QRM Plus, it's a NAS only application, so you have to install it on one of your NASs. Once you install it, just click on Open. Log in with your username and password for your NAS, and it'll give you quick information about, again, a dashboard. Like all of our NASs, we like to give you a dashboard. So just gives you quick information about how many devices are up, how many devices are down, and then CPU utilization, disk utilization, and then memory utilization for these. To set up IPMI, you can also set up IPMI, also set up KVM as well for those devices. As I was mentioning before, device discovery, you can set up device discovery by IP address range or by subnet. And you can just go start scanning. It will start scanning for all the devices you have on that particular network. So you have all these devices that will show up here as well with this IP address. And if you can quickly add devices here as well. If you have any Windows computer, you can quickly click on that and add devices here as well. But so again, you can quickly scan your network for any new devices you have connected. For device management, again, this is where you can manage all my devices. I can add device, I can delete devices here. I can check for their uptime as well. So right here I have this device that's not online, so I can quickly check information about that device as well. But right now it's not connected, so I don't have much information, but I can see what the information about that device quickly. Right, let's look at one of the online devices again. So under device management, I have this computer that is online and is connected. It's going to show you live graph of your CPU utilization, memory utilization, disk utilization as well. And right now it also gives you information about your CPU model, your manufacturer of that particular computer, how much memory it has connected, and what their network information as well. Right, this computer has multiple networks. It'll show you information about all the network information as well. Under tools, I can quickly browse device, or if it has a web browser based device, basically if you have any computer that is web browser based device, you can browse device from here. You can ping device to check to make sure everything is working smoothly, at least the network part of it. You can trace route to see how many hops it takes for that device, and then you can also remote desktop into it or even VNC into it. For Linux based computers, you can also SSH into those devices. For power control, you have power off and restart. So you can either power off the devices or you can also restart devices as well. And then network topology will give you basic information about the network as well, how everything is connected. And then other configuration, this is where you can set up alerts for your device. So right now I have a high disk usage alert. So I can set up high disk utilization over 90% for these two computers. If it reaches 90% for disk utilization, it will send me an alert saying that, okay, these computers have reached 90% disk utilization. So I can either tell the user to delete some data, or I can have him upgrade his hard drive so that he can have more storage. So again, this is, you can set up for CPU usage as well. So if a user reaches higher CPU utilization or memory utilization, or if the device is powered off, it'll send you a notification as well. So it's a great way to use to get just keep update about your workstations remotely. Okay, all right, that's it. Back to you.
Awesome, thank you, Dewell. So that was QRM Plus. So how does QRM Plus help you? So again, it provides you a single point solution to manage, monitor all of the devices on your network. You could also remotely manage both Windows and Linux devices. You can also manage IPMI compatible devices. So that's another cool little added feature there. You can monitor device health, performance, and stay on top of things with alerts and notifications. Again, for management, remote management, you can also manage with your Android mobile device with the QRM Plus app. So very convenient, awesome way to manage, both with QCenter and QRM Plus. Not only manage all the NASs that you're managing on your network or all your clients' devices, but also all the devices on your network as well. So that wraps up the first part of our webinar where we talk about all of our software. So we're going to open up the floor for a quick 10-minute Q&A. So any questions you have, please feel free to chime in and chat, and we're gonna leave it open for Q&A. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Thank you. All right, folks, that wraps up our 10-minute Q&A. Now we're going to get into part 2 of our webinar where we talk about our all-in-one managed PoE and gigabit switch, our QGD 1600P. So challenges of why you would want to look at something like the QGD 1600P. You want to avoid overspending on devices that only serve a single function. Instead of getting several different components, you want something that handles multiple functions, and you have clients with space issues or budgetary issues that don't need a bunch of different devices. You ever look for one device that does it all? How can you easily manage and monitor your network remotely? Of course, that's popped up a few times, but another way to do that is with a network device that lets you manage and monitor your network remotely. Also, you ever have difficulty finding the ability to check power consumptions on PoE devices, and you need the ability to turn PoE devices on and off remotely. The QGD is what you need. The QGD 1600P. That's the world's first smart PoE switch that supports VMs. It does a lot of cool stuff, which Deval's going to tell you all about it right now. So, Deval.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, so let's talk about QGD 1600P. QGD is the world's first smart PoE edge switch that runs QTS, and it supports hosting virtual machines to enable versatile applications to satisfy all your networking needs, basically. It has 4 60-watt PoE++ ports and has 12 30-watt gigabit PoE ports to connect all your PoE devices. It has SFP plus ports, 1 gigabit SFP plus ports if you wanted to connect fiber as well. It supports 2 2.5-inch SATA drives to add storage to your switch for storing your VMs, basically. It also has PCIe slots to add additional cards like 10G cards or M.2 SSD cards. Or you can also add a Wi-Fi card to add Wi-Fi capabilities or create Wi-Fi network with this particular switch as well. So again, this is just not your physical switch. You can also create Wi-Fi networks using this particular switch. QGD switch also has virtualization capabilities. You can either set up your switch as a router with router OS or with OpenWRT, or you can set up firewalls with pfSense. There is a new application called QNAP Switch app, which is a user-friendly management interface for your network with ability to check the status of your switch and also quickly change settings. With QTS installed on your switch, you can install QBR Pro application for all-in-one surveillance solution with built-in PoE capabilities. So basically, your switch has PoE ports and also has QTS with QBR Pro, so you can install and just plug in your cameras to the switch, and there you go, you have a all-in-one solution for your surveillance. Lastly, it has onboard storage for adding storage to your switch, and then one of the solutions which I can think of for you on this for this particular switch is for a restaurant or retail solution with built-in PoE capabilities and VM capabilities. You can easily install high-powered PoE devices like point of sale devices, menu boards, digital signage boards, and with regular 30-watt PoE switch, you can install surveillance cameras on that same location or wireless access points to give wireless capabilities to that particular location. And lastly, with virtualization station and internal storage, you can build an all-in-one networking solution. So you can install router on that particular switch. So you have all these PoE devices. They also get network as well as they also get router capabilities. Or you can have firewall if you have your own router. So again, this is an all-in-one. It's a compact device that can do all. And it does have. You can also configure the switch with a WAN port. So you don't need a separate router. You can just connect your WAN port and then have all these devices get internet access. So basically, all-in-one solution. That's what we're gearing this for. All right. So with that in mind, let's get started. Again, if you see the interface, it looks exactly like QTS. So there's not a big learning curve with this. You have all these same applications like Control Center or storage and snapshots, and you can create users, groups. Again, networking as well. Storage and snapshot. Again, this is where you can create your storage for this. You have your QBR Pro application, which is the same exact application for your switch, and then for under App Center you can also install different applications. So also you have access to all the applications that QTS has. So basically you can actually do much more than this as well. You can actually install virtualization, your own VM with virtualization, and then you have this VM installer, which I was referring to before. VM installer, again, this allows you to create a VM like pfSense for firewall, or router OS, or WRT, or OpenWRT for router capabilities. Okay, so again, VM installer is a great tool again. And then lastly, the new app that I was referring to, which is QUnit switch. You can just click on open on the application, and it'll give you quick information about your switch, like CPU usage, power consumption for your PoE ports, how many ports are connected right now, how many of them are using power, and how many are regular network ports. Okay, so this is where you can quick overview as well. Again, current port consumption as well. And then devices just gives you information about MAC address history. You can scan for how many devices that are connected or they were connected to this particular switch. You can also set up Wake on LAN as well. So you can Wake on LAN directly from here as well. And then again, we can set up Wake on LAN for with your own device with your own MAC address. Okay, so you can set up that as well. You can also set up a Wake on LAN schedule. So in case if you want to wake up something later on, so you can also do that as well. Basically, this is the best example I'll give you is a computer that's supposed to be on at 9 o'clock every day. You can set up a schedule to make sure it wakes up at 9 o'clock. So in case somebody turns off the computer, this schedule can help you wake up that computer, basically. Okay, and then configuration is where you're going to set up your switch part of it. So you can set up your ports right here. Status gives you information about if there is anything connected to this and it's enabled or not, and what speed are they currently configured as. Port statistics, information about your packets received and transmitted. It'll give you information about that as well. Port configuration, this is where you can set up a speed for, you can manually set up speeds, or you can turn off the port completely. You can also set up flow control and frame side as well, like jumbo frames as well. Speed, the only reason we have given you speed here is, well, let's say if you have smart light that uses network smart lights, you don't need gigabit for that. You can actually have them run on the lowest speed, and then rest of them can get higher bandwidth, basically. Okay, PoE capabilities right here, you can set up, it'll show you information about your power consumption. You can also set up PoE configurations. If they're PoE++, you can disable, or you can just disable PoE if you wanted to, or you can set up regular PoE if they're not PoE++. You can also set up PoE schedule, where you can set up to turn on that device at a particular time or turn off that device at a particular time. This is the best example I can give you is, again, going back to that restaurant example. Let's say if the restaurant is supposed to open at 6 in the morning and supposed to close down at 10, right? And you don't need all your signage devices or all your PoE devices to run all the time, right? So you can set up a schedule where they will turn on at 6 in the morning and it will turn off at 10 at night. And you can set up per port as well. So let's say if you have PoE cameras, you don't want to turn off cameras, right? So you don't have to set up a schedule for those cameras, but you can set up schedule for other PoE ports as well. Okay, so that's a great example of PoE schedule. VLAN is where you can tag VLANs. You can set up different virtual switches within the switch. A link aggregation is basically you can aggregate multiple ports to give you better performance or backup for a particular port. Traffic, it'll just give you traffic information about any particular port, and also you can set up rate limits. So you can set up inbound and outbound ingress or egress rate limits. So you can set up, so you can control bandwidth here as well for each of the ports. Security is basically you can add security right here, so you can turn off or you can block certain devices as well. And then quality of service. So you can also set up a priority for each of the ports. You can set up if you're one of the port is very important to you, you can set up highest priority for that particular port, and the other ports you can set up lower priorities. So you can also control quality of service as well. Port mirroring is again, you can mirror multiple ports for again to get more control over your network. Okay, so this is basically a brief overview of QGD. All right, back to you, Eric.
Awesome. Thank you, Deval. So yeah, that's QGD 1600. As you can see, it does a whole lot of great things. How this helps you specifically, for example, the example that Deval gave you in regards to the restaurant and retail scenario. I mean, you got one device that does that. It can PoE surveillance, an electronic menu, point of sales, a wireless access, and digital signage as well. So you got customers with limited budget and limited, and sometimes limited space. You got one device that handles all of the above. So again, all-in-one surveillance and storage solutions for restaurants, retail, SMB. So this covers a huge gamut of different types of customers that you can offer one solution for. Easy management for you SMPs out there. You have one device that you can manage for your client. And also, it's a single centralized management interface that saves you cost of learning different, getting familiar with different devices. You don't have to do that. You have one device that handles, that you can manage for different devices. So it's an all-in-one solution. We're really excited to talk to you guys about that today. And that wraps up our webinar. We're going to open up the floor for Q&A for 15 minutes. So you have any questions, please feel free to chat away. We greatly appreciate you touching base with us today and joining our webinar. On behalf of Deval and myself, we thank you.
Thank
and stay tuned for our next webinar. We'll be announcing the next topic soon. Until next time,
All right.
take
Thank
care.
you.